Hello everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road Face-to-Face.
Electric cars or electric automobiles, people are very much interested in that, to use that. It's also good, it's eco-friendly.
The e-vehicles or new energy vehicles should be the future, but still a lot of constraints to be conquered.
When they're going to buy some car, they will give 5 or 10% lower price, that the people get interested in it.
And that at first, some kind of joint marketing is very important.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Belt and Road Face-to-Face. Our program is co-produced by China Economic Net and Wash News Television. I'm Wang Xiaotong from China Economic Net. Today I'm pleased to be joined in our studio by Wang Shida, a social aid research professor at China Institute of Contemporary International Relations, and Mr. Samir Sadiki, incident manager at ABB Global. Let's enter the first part, hotspot. The National Assembly Standing Committee on Industries and Production was informed that preparations were underway for the new auto policy as the existing Automotive Development Policy 2016 to 21st is set to expire in June next year. Minister for Industries and Production Hammad Azhar briefed the NA body that the electric vehicles policy in connection with the ADP 2016 to 21st. He added that the policy for hybrid vehicles will be covered in the ADP 2021 to 26, and it will also include local manufacturing for electric vehicles. What is the current development situation of electrical vehicles in Pakistan?
Okay, as for now, it's a beginning, but as you can say, same 4 or 5 years back in China, it's same there, because there is a lot of problem of electricity in Pakistan. We are back with energy resources there. So electric cars or electric automobiles, people are very much interested in that, to use that. It's also good, it's eco-friendly. But again, because of lack of energy resources, people still are not going to really test these kind of cars or experiments. But government start promoting, so I hope when they will start promote these EV vehicles in Pakistan, they also do the part for providing this energy or electricity to charge those, which is the very most important part, right? So it's still in the beginning. Let's see, I hope it will go to better place, because the world globally moving to the EV. So sooner or later, of course, Pakistan will also go for that.
What difficulties are faced by Pakistan's electric vehicle industry, and how to improve the construction of supporting facilities such as charging piles?
Like my friend Samir mentioned, something the power charging is always an issue. So from speaking up till now, with the economic development in recent years, I think Pakistan automobile market prosper. But up till now, mostly traditional ones. Some are fueled on the CNG, while some fueled on gasolines. But in terms of technical complexity, and also the environmental friendly or energy protection, the e-vehicles or new energy vehicles should be the future, but still a lot of constraints to be conquered. First is, I think, charging piles. In fact, not only Pakistan, even China, we developed e-vehicle for several years. From speaking, up till now, we are still face this kind of problem, the charging piles. On the one hand, we talk about the private charging piles, because you see the parking spaces like in big cities, like Beijing or Islamabad, you cannot have enough private parking areas. So that means the private charging pile installation should not be enough. On the other hand, if you talk about public charging miles, the user experience not so good. There are a lot of problem like the poor user experience, like other problems. So that I think in the future, the charging pile is one of the big problems. How to solve it, frankly speaking, up till now, we did not solve it completely. But there are some kind of experience we can share. You see the Peking charging companies already use big data technology to solve this issue. Because they use the big data technology and analysis, they can provide very specific data. We use this based on this kind of specific data, they can decide where to build the charging piles and how many charging piles should be built. So that maybe the big data technology should be a way out.
And the committee member also expressed their concerns over the higher prices of vehicles in Pakistan. Will this hinder the development of electric vehicles in Pakistan?
This
the higher
is completely
prices?
up to government, right? If you can say the manufacturing, the EV car manufacturing price, I don't think so it is higher than the gasoline cars, because the engine parts are the parts of the power which they use in gasoline, that's more than EV, right? So the manufacturing cost is not that much high. The cost comes after this, after sales agreement, or maybe maintenance, or maintenance. EV car maintenance is either easy, but still those kind of a battery which you are buying the cells, that cost a lot, almost half of the car price if you want to change once. And then taxes, these things government has to think on it, that they will give some kind of benefits to the people who are buying. As China, I know that they were giving some in start for promotion of these EV cars. If I'm not mistaken, government gives some kind of a benefits in the cost, right? When they're going to buy some car, they will give 5 or 10% lower price, that the people get interested in it and they buy and promote these things. So I think government of Pakistan should take the same kind of steps, that let the people. First thing, we need manufacturing plants in Pakistan, because importing one car itself is a big cost. So if we have a plants, it is manufacturing like other Japanese or German cars. Japanese are mostly in Pakistan. So if they are manufacturing the cars there, it will cost a little bit lower. Second, taxes. Government should give some kind of a rebate or some kind of benefits to the people or the factories or the manufacturers, that they can sell on lower price. Let introduce their technology to the people and let them use to own it.
Yes, Mr. Wang.
Under some kind of circumstances, the e-vehicles do sell more expensive than the traditional ones, especially if this kind of e-vehicles are imported instead of localized manufacture. For example, I heard that e-rickshaw costs around 400,000 Pakistan rupees, while traditional one is around about 250,000 rupees. So that is kind of price differences. But like Samir rightly point out, that when after sales, the user will find that dramatically decrease of the cost on fuels, and even talk about the maintenance. Because the e-vehicle, you do not need to change the oil or the filter, so that you can save another part of money in terms of maintenance. I think in the future still I'm optimistic for the development of e-vehicle either in China or in Pakistan.
When it comes to the electric buses, a strategic alliance agreement between Skywell Automobile China and Daewoo Express of Pakistan was reached before. How do you view the establishment and promotion of the industrial chain of electric buses in Pakistan?
Also, very good news for me to hear that the companies from Pakistan, China already start their cooperation in terms of e-vehicles. But frankly speaking, the so-called industrial chain of the e-buses in Pakistan, we still have a long way to go. Talk about the cooperation between China and Pakistan, because at first the China e-vehicles still newcomer to Pakistan market. That means Pakistan side maybe not so familiar with Chinese e-vehicle. It takes some time for people to get accustomed to a new product. I think there is also a very important issue, that is our weather conditions, our driving habit, because we are left-hand while Pakistan is right-hand. Our weather condition, because Peking is very cold. Nowadays, I think in Islamabad or in Karachi, the climate may be very hot. So that this kind of differences also becomes some kind of obstacle that Chinese e-vehicle company have to take this kind of differences into consideration. So that I think the future is bright, but still we have a lot of difficulties to conquer.
What cooperation can be done in the future in the electric vehicles sector between China and Pakistan?
As per I said before that first of all we need some kind of a manufacturing line there in Pakistan, because China already have their manufacturing. There's several brands locally, they are making this kind of e-cars. So we need the same kind of a manufacturing line there in Pakistan, which will help to manufacture those products there in Pakistan, and it will be cheap in cost too, because the cost labor in Pakistan is cheap, right? So we can have and a lot of people, they are willing to do the jobs in the companies. They are there waiting for this kind of a project. So I think if we have this kind of a project start in Pakistan and we can manufacture those cars there, it will be helpful, beneficial for both sides.
Yes. Mr. Wang.
Maybe at first we should do some kind of joint marketing in Pakistan's market. You see that after more than 10-year development, I think Chinese customers, I think that they are already get used to this kind of e-vehicles. Like in Peking, if you look at the cars in street, I think at least 2 or 3 e-vehicles out of 10 cars. But I think Pakistan is still just a starting phase. So first, some kind of joint marketing is very important. And second issue, I think the policies from the government is very important, because I think at the starting point for China's e-vehicles around 10 years ago, we all know that Chinese government provide a lot of financial supporting policies for the development of e-vehicles. I think each vehicle, if the customer buy one e-vehicle, the government can give a subsidy as much as 50,000 yuan to 10,000 yuan. So that means quite a lot of subsidies. So that I think policy is very important as a starting point of the development of e-vehicle.
And the young generation, they love to use these mobile devices. They want to use the more advanced technology, more good devices, especially now when we are going to the multimedia life.
So that people cannot move to different parts of the country, they cannot move out of the country. So that maybe that create more demand for the smartphones, because you can use smartphone to do a lot of entertainment.
We need to improvise our industry to make or to innovate this kind of devices.
You are watching the Belt and Road Face-to-Face. Let's enter the second part figure. According to the State Bank of Pakistan, imports of mobile phones in Pakistan rose 84% year-on-year to $1.1 billion in the last fiscal year. Mobile phone imports continue to surge to $527 million in the first quarter of this fiscal year, more than 3 times the average for the same period in the last 5 years, the Express Tribune reported. What do you think is the reason behind the surge in Pakistan's mobile phone imports?
50% of our population, or more than 50, I think 65 to 60% are the young generation. They love to use the new devices. And most of because Pakistan is not still that better, I don't think so. Maybe there are 1 or 2 companies they are making handset in Pakistan. Still not in my knowledge, but I think so. Mostly they want to use the good brands, right? So they have to import that. And the young generation, they love to use these mobile devices. They want to use the more advanced technology, more good devices, especially now when we are going to the multimedia life, like they are making kind of a YouTube videos or TikTok videos. They need those kind of a good cameras or good devices with the good accessories. So this is the reason, especially now, because we are moving to this era where we have a TikTok or YouTube or Facebook everywhere. Every person is having a camera in their hand and they are taking their videos and clips. Those things need a good devices, which is only now in Pakistan you can get imported. Locally we don't have any kind of a device which can compete with those imported devices. So this is the major reason that young kids, they love to buy the good product, and that only you can buy the imported one.
Mr. Wang.
Besides that reason, I think maybe the COVID-19 epidemic might be a reason too, because either Pakistan or China or other countries all have different restrictions on transport due to the COVID-19 pandemic. so that people cannot move to different parts of the country, they cannot move out of the country. So that maybe that create more demand for the smartphones, because you can use smartphone to do a lot of entertainment. So maybe I think the restrictions of transport helps to the import of the mobile phones in Pakistan. I think another reason maybe that you see that with time going by, I think a lot of people more get used to the financial transfer through mobile phone. For me, I think I no longer use bring any cashes. I think that same thing always is still is happening in other countries like Pakistan. I think maybe the financial transfer through mobile phone may be another reason.
Mrs. Samir, as you see it, what measures should be taken to cope with the increase of mobile phone imports to Pakistan?
Okay, we cannot stop people to use the phone, especially when you have a young generation or the young kids in your home or in your surrounding, right? So the most important thing that what we need to improvise our industry to make or to innovate these kind of devices in our country. We have skills, we have skillful people, educated people, but we don't have that kind of a platform where they can use their skills and they can come with some new devices made in Pakistan. So once you have some competitive devices like mobile phone or cell phones, which kids or the people can buy locally, and they can compete with these big brands, other brands, like I don't want to mention the names. So when they can compete with those brands, they can find out, yeah, okay, what we are using is the same what we can import. This is the only way, as per my understanding, to stop import. People need things. When they need things, if they didn't find, they will go and buy from or import from other countries. So if you have the thing in your own country, or if we have a thing in our own country we are making, or we are that much capable to build that product in our country, then people must use that one. And that should be cheaper too.
Yeah. What is the prospect of Pakistan's mobile phone industry, and what experience can China share with Pakistan, Mr. Wang?
For me, I'm optimistic about Pakistan's mobile industries. I think up till since the new government, Prime Minister Imran Khan taking office, I think a lot of measures already been carried out to enhance the domestic manufacturing items, including the mobile phones. Some very favorable policies already being carried out, like the custom concession to the local mobile factories. Talk about the China experience, I think there are two experiences for me. First is production localization. When you talk about production localization, that means from the perspective of the hardware, a country like Pakistan, you should can make all this kind of production, either a whole mobile phone or the supporting parts, all inside Pakistan, instead of rely on other countries. In terms of technology, I mean that you have to integrate the international advanced technology with the local culture, local economic background, that you can sell the local made mobile phones. I think that is very, very important. That is production localized. Also, the same important is talent localized. That means not only I think the ordinary workers should be the majority. The local people should be the majority of the ordinary workers, but also I think in terms of sales, management, even technical innovation, the local people should get involved as much as possible. So that through this kind of tools, the country can realize industrial localization, including the mobile phone.
Mrs. Samir.
As I was saying that as per PTA, Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, the number from last year, it was more than 1.5 million people using mobile phone in Pakistan. So making the mobile phones are we have the people, we have the skillful people, they are very much known with this kind of a technology. They just need some kind of a platform in which they can go to this industry, or they can boom this industry in Pakistan. They can give the local products, as Mr. Wang said before. That's what actually we needed there to improve and to stop this kind of import. We have local brands, but honestly saying that local brands are already they manufactured, or what to say, they assemble out of Pakistan and then they import. So at the end, the brand is local but also imported stuff. So if you want to stop the import, or if you want to reduce the import, or if you want to balance the either import and export, you need something to balance that, and that is that we must think. I know that our government start thinking on this, as Mr. Wang said that they already approved some projects. So it will come soon. Of course, when something started, took some time to become a reality. So once it will come, it will be better. It will be better, and we can go on the better side.
To some extent, China's online literature become a bridge or become a platform for the overseas readers to learn, to get more understanding of this kind of ancient Oriental civilization.
Especially from last 6 to 8 years, it becomes much better or much famous in Pakistan now, because people start to know more about China.
So that shows the better online literature. I think the people-to-people exchange between Pakistan and China get greatly enhanced.
You are watching the Belt and Road face-to-face. Let's enter the third part, culture. Writers from Pakistan and other countries gathered in Shanghai, China for the opening ceremony of the first Shanghai International Online Literature Week in 2020 on November the 16th. According to the white paper on the development of online literature in 2020 released by China Literature, more than 100,000 non-Chinese writers, including some from Pakistan, have started to write online literature works. More than 160,000 original works have been written by the writers from all over the world, with themes such as romantic love and science fiction. Chinese online literature works have attracted more than 60 million followers worldwide. In addition, by 2019, China had exported more than 10,000 online literature works overseas, covering more than 40 countries and regions along the Belt and Road Initiative route. Why do the Chinese literature works are so popularly received by the foreign readers, Mr. Wang?
I think the cool reason is the content of the Chinese online literature. Because you see that in the past several years, like you mentioned, China's online literature got very popular all around the world, even inspired some kind of foreign writers to contribute to the China's online literature. Why? I think the good content. What is good content? I think that is closely related to China's value, China's culture, China's spirit. I think because this kind of online literature has this kind of element, so to some extent, China's online literature become a bridge or become a platform for the overseas readers to learn, to get more understanding of this kind of ancient Oriental civilization. Because unlike this kind of classic writings, this kind of online literature is very easy to read, so that young people really more get used to this kind of this formal literature. Rather than the classical ones.
Ms. Samir, have you ever read any Chinese online literature works? Are they popular in Pakistan also?
Yeah, I have to, because I think my family is Chinese, so when I sit with my kids, they have to read and I have to be with them, and especially when you are in family, you have to go with them after having that long time in China. And as Mr. Wang said, yeah, for now, as China is very known to the world, so people love to read Chinese literature. They want to know more about tradition, culture, and I know that it's becoming more and more famous now, either in Pakistan, because of especially from last 6 to 8 years, it becomes much better or much famous in Pakistan now, because people start to know more about China. So this literature is the way which you can find more and more, like about the culture, traditions, food, and these things. What is going on there? What kind of a humor, or what kind of stories, or what kind of a background history? So all those literatures, people are interested to know more. So it's getting more famous in Pakistan too now.
What benefits will the popularity of the online literature bring to the local people in Pakistan?
The major benefit that they came to know Chinese nation or Chinese people more closer. rather than coming, or they go and buy the ticket and come to China and see what is in here. So literature helps in it more, that they can understand many things which they want to know, or it helps them to make the relation. Like this kind of a relation is also a very nice one, that if you read about some nation or some culture, other culture which you are not known literally with that one, so it makes an interest. It will make more interest in a person to dig more deep and get to know.
Thank you. Mr. Wang.
You see that I think through the spread of the online literature from China, the people from two countries, I think, get closer to each other. Why? I think through this kind of spread of online literature, maybe the Pakistan people, especially young people, we have found that we have so much things in common, because we are all ancient Oriental civilizations. We have really a lot of things in common compared with the Western world. I mean the west part of the world, because we all value the family. I think we visit Pakistan quite some time. The family spirit is very important in Pakistan, but also in China, the same. Also the brotherhood and the respect for the teacher. This kind of spirit, you can call that China's spirit. You can also call that Pakistan spirit. So that through the spread of online literature, I think the people-to-people exchange between Pakistan and China get greatly enhanced, which is a most durable foundation for the strategic partnership between China and Pakistan.
For Chinese and Pakistani literature lovers and practitioners, what cooperation can be conducted in this area?
I think both sides of the governments, they will give more opportunities to the young people, to having more seminars and exhibitions on these literatures, to move from one place to other. They should know the reality and literature both at the same time. They should feel it and they could read it. So that's very important. So I think this is up to the governments, that they give some ease to the people who wants to go to Pakistan or wants to come to China, and then they have to, well, once they read literature or about the culture, the next step is it get more interested. Okay, I want to go and see. Right? So if they have these kind of opportunities, they have they have to conduct more seminars on it. Maybe online seminars are also. Now it's very after pandemic, we have online seminars and online exhibitions. So this is the one part I think we should think, or the government should think, and they should let the people to take interest in it more.
Ms. Wang, what cooperation between China and Pakistan can be done in this area, and is language a barrier?
I would like to mention that thing. I think always the language difference is a barrier, but I think from the perspective of spread of online literature, that could be a potential cooperation area. On the one hand, the translation, because for the spread of the online literature, either the China online literature spread all over the world, or the overseas contributor to Chinese online literature, we all need the translation. The translation is a bridge between the China's online literature and Pakistan, as well as other countries. So that you see that up till now, most of the overseas translation teams are local translation teams. So that I think for that, I think Pakistan side could be a lot of great potential for the translation, either translate China's online literature to Urdu or to English, or some kind of writer just write in Urdu or in English, then translate back to Chinese. The second one is a joint creation, because I think besides translation, I think we should really seriously consider doing some kind of joint creation of online literature. We chose some kind of really good writers, and take the Pakistan spirit and China's culture together, and write simultaneously in Chinese, Urdu, or English, and spread simultaneously in Pakistan, China. So that translation and joint creation, I think that is some kind of potential cooperation area.
Thank you. Thank you for watching the Belt and Road Face-to-Face, and thank you too for coming to our show today.
Thank you.
See you next time.